concept is reshaping Manila's nightlife as Think Responsibly introduces social learning sessions in bar settings. The initiative brings together young professionals for brief expert talks, followed by open discussions and networking. Founded in 2025, it offers an alternative to traditional nightlife by blending entertainment with knowledge sharing. Organizers say the growing interest reflects a shift towards more purposeful and engaging after-hours experiences. And to tell us more, we have with us here live Louie Enriquez, founder and chief curator of Think Responsibly. Good evening, welcome to PTV News Tonight, and of course, welcome to Interface, where we connect conversations.
Thank you.
All right, first and foremost, we're very excited to ask you all about Think Responsibly. You know, for people hearing about it for the first time, what exactly is it, and how did this massive idea come into play?
Okay. So Think Responsibly is basically a social learning experience. So the idea here is that it's basically a lecture in a bar. It's a lecture in a bar where we do learning over drinks, right? So so the thing to answer here is that have you ever attended a lecture and told yourself this would be so much better with alcohol? So yeah.
Well, I did, because I think, like, as human, it's part of human nature to be a little bit more relaxed.
Correct.
And ideas flow more when you are in a casual atmosphere, I think. Yeah. Okay, so was there a moment, I'd like to ask, where you realized that people were looking for this kind of space and engagement?
Okay. So I attend a lot of conferences and I do a lot of events, and like corporate events in schools and universities. And usually what people are more excited about is really their networking session, right? And then the networking session, that's where the drinks happen, the interaction. So what we did was that we fast forwarded it to that part, and then the entertainment part here is the actual lecture. It's a form of edu-tainment where while you listen to the actual speaker, you get to drink already.
Okay, hold on. So walk me through what happens. So what time does this normally begin? So the nightlife starts maybe at about 6 or 7? Okay.
I believe it's more like 7 to 8 or maybe later.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So the registration does start 6 p.m. But typically the program starts 7 p.m. and then it lasts for 2 hours. So the format is we always have 2 speakers at the moment. So what happens is that we start with a 20-minute lecture and then followed by a 20-minute Q&A. So at 20 minutes, I feel like that's the perfect time that we were able to gather. So it's not too long, not too short for a lecture for any kind of topic. And whatever it is.
So we're talking any kind of topic.
Correct.
Broad ranging, anything. Health, you know, we've got business, entrepreneurship, mental health, you know, anything.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Everything that we've shared, but just to add a little bit more, from what we've covered in the past, we've done topics on graphic design, business, technology, influencer marketing. We've had one about chocolates, that's one of my personal favorites, and we've also had one about trains. Ooh,
wow, so really diverse.
Correct.
So people would be excited and you know, knowledgeable about brand new topics. Do you announce this a week before, a month before? Like, how do people exactly look out for these topics?
Okay, so we've done around 7 or 8 events already, and typically we announce it 3 weeks before, so just the right amount of time for us to really promote the topics, and then it's just enough space for people to go to. Average is around probably 50 to 60 people, and yeah.
Okay. I love that your name is sort of a play on words on drink responsibly, right? So why do people, first of all, believe, why do you believe rather, that learning and drinking can coexist in a meaningful way?
Okay. So I've always had conversations with people while on a night out, and for some reason, sometimes it becomes more intelligent whenever we're drinking, right? So have you ever had something like that?
Yes, many times. I'm not really a drinker, but I think like the environment kind of promotes a more relaxed atmosphere and ideas flow better.
Correct, right? So that's exactly what happens here. So that's why it's also designed to be just 20 minutes the lecture and then a 20-minute Q&A, because can you imagine a Q&A while people are already drinking? So it becomes very interactive, and that's exactly what's been happening.
Okay. I would like to know, though, when you started this concept, were there people, or I would say feedback, that said, this is not going to work? You know, what kind of pushback did you get in the beginning?
Okay. very good question because this is totally new in the Philippines,
Okay.
right? So it's a topic that, it has not happened in the past. So it was a little bit hard for people to understand. The people's interaction were like initial input was, how will that even work? No, I can't imagine that it's a lecture in a bar. But then again, when people get to experience it, then it just works naturally.
Okay, so you mentioned that you have a wide variety of topics and you invite speakers who are generally knowledgeable in their field. But what exactly makes a great Think Responsibly speaker?
Okay, right. So we do focus more on business leaders, founders, professors to really establish that they are experts in what they do.
Okay.
Right. So for instance, it's not a hard requirement, but it helps if they have media presence because that definitely helps add up to the overall credibility of them as a speaker. So, for instance, the graphic designer we've had, there's an article about him in Vogue. We've had two speakers who are in the Forbes 30 under 30 list, and then other expert speakers that has been featured in the news, several articles and published journals, and that really establishes the credibility.
I find it very interesting because there would be a moment in movements like this where it's not just a gathering of an event. It actually becomes something bigger than just an event series. Now, I'm sure you've had that aha moment already. When did that point come?
Okay, it's funny. It's funny because this is literally how Think Responsibly started. I had this friend. And she attended some sort of dating event, and she paid like 1,700 pesos, something to
so
something
speed
like
dating.
Something like that.
All right.
Something like that. And then when she told me that she spent that much, I was like, huh? Then let me organize something else, and then you go attend that event. And then a week later, I came up with this.
Okay.
So kind of started out like a joke, but then again, it really went on.
Yeah. I'm very curious, Louis. Have there been friendships or communities or collaborations that you've seen start because of Think Responsibly?
Okay. Interestingly, 20 to 30% of the attendees of Think Responsibly are solo goers. They, some people, they ask if they can go solo, and of course we do encourage them. And what we do intentionally is we kind of group them together, and interestingly, they become the most fun bunch. So there was this one event in March. I've noticed that they all became friends already, and then I've befriended them in social media, and then I've seen a week later that they're already playing pickleball after.
Oh, nice. Okay, so communities are being formed, friendships are being built.
Correct.
Okay, very curious, and I think this is really the pinnacle of it all. What do you hope that young Filipinos, I assume the target market is around maybe 20 to 40, 20 to 50?
The target market is really 30 to 40.
Okay, 30 to 40.
It is a ticketed event.
30 hen and 40 hen.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. All right. So, what do you hope that young Filipinos would be able to take back from this? Values that would be shaped differently about the idea of nightlife and social interactions because of Think Responsibly.
Okay. I have a sort of heavy answer.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I feel like as a society, I feel like, we're evolving on how we do nightlife. So we're not exactly replacing nightlife because, drinking will continue to happen either way. But then again, in a way, we are upgrading it because Filipinos are looking for something more. And this literally is the something more that we are providing. It's literally learning over drinks.
All right. Well, we are very interested to see what you have in store for us. You've got a bunch of events lined up. Please do invite our audience.
Okay. So we actually have two events coming up this May. That's May 7 and May 23. Both are in Makati. It's going to be about financial crimes and Hotel 101. And then the other one is about coffee and litter of flight. Sustainability.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your insight and all these brand new ideas. Many thanks, Louis Enriquez, founder and chief curator of Think Responsibly. We look forward to joining you in one of your events soon.
Think Responsibly.
I like it.